I was really, really in pains. The pains are not stopping. I was having a problem with my leg. I could not move the leg again. At the point, the nurse was like, your baby is big. My baby is big. What do you want me to do? Wow, it was such an emotional moment for me. Would I say I was expecting it? No, I wasn't, because I was praying for my wedding as at that time. So the least of my mind was pregnancy. I had this illness, ran through some hospitals. The only thing I had was measles. I was like, what could happen? What kind of illness is this that is not even going? So, like 2 weeks thereabouts, during the time I was going off and on to the hospital, I had a nurse, a professional nurse. She's just like a family member who just came and was like, are you sure this is just measles or is there something more about to it? So she ran different type of tests. Then the urine test came, it was negative. The blood test was positive. As at first, the news didn't even come to me directly. She called my hubby. I was still at the sitting room and it was like, babe, I have a news. I was like, what news? Is there any new contract? You are pregnant. What? I really could not even fathom why I was going to get pregnant at that moment, while I was being careful and I was being protective of myself. Okay, thank God. Well, all good. But during that 3 months, my first trimester, it was heaven. Don't let me say hell. Let me just say it's heavenly, because I was devastated. I couldn't do anything on my own. I couldn't even have a bath on my own. I couldn't eat. Drinking water was even a problem. I ran from a size 12 to size 10, going towards to size 8. It was really terrible. Just like 2 months to my wedding, getting pregnant, I couldn't do some runarounds. At a point, I had a threatened abortion. That was a month to my wedding. I was about 3 months then, or I really can't say. So we rushed to the hospital that Sunday morning. Before then, it was, I stood up to ease myself in the middle of the night. And I came back to bed. The next thing, I was like, what's this? Am I urinating on myself? God, this is blood. My husband was asleep. I had to wake him up. I have seen blood. I was like, it's nothing much now. Maybe it's normal during pregnancy. This is not normal. I had to wake him up around 4:30. Yes, I could remember the time, 4:30 a.m. I was like, okay, let's rush to the hospital. Let's rush to the hospital. His car was at the mechanics. Wow, another problem. So we had to wait till like 6 a.m. in the morning. We ran to the hospital, we got there. The doctor was like, okay, lie down. He was examining everything. Are you feeling pains there? I said no. All the questions he was asking, I was giving an answer of no. He was like, are you sure? This no, you are scaring me. Oh. Okay, go run a test. Let's know if it's still positive or negative. During the course of that, I was crying. I was telling my mommy, I called her, Mom, I don't want to lose this pregnancy with all the old stress and everything. So I'm actually scaling out of these 3 months, and seeing this kind of problem again shouldn't even come. Not even at this moment. I don't want to lose this baby. No. At the course of the test, I was frightened. I asked the lady, what's going on? Tell me something. She just told me, don't worry, madam. We'll get back to you. Just go and sit down. My hubby was beside me. He was just calm. You know men now. He was like, if it wants to go, it will go. You have another child. I was like, what are you saying? Have another child, okay? Hey. But there's always this, I really wouldn't say the pain was my joy. Because if I never encountered that pain, I wouldn't know how the child is to me. Maybe I wouldn't even give that child a meaning. During that period, from that 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. while I was at the hospital, a lot of things were running through my mind. If I lose this child, will I have an opportunity to have another one? Will all the sicknesses that I've encountered during this pregnancy, will they just all go without no problem? I am suffering for this child. Why don't I have a reason to carry this child at hand? I think that's the most emotional day I have ever had in my life, speaking to God from the purest heart of mine. When the result came, I was called in by the doctor. He said, hopefully you still have your child. You're going to place me on a 4 weeks injection. Wow, I was happy. I really don't know what came over me. Immediately, whatever I had during that time, everything just stopped. Then I said, thank God. I called my mom, told my hubby, everybody was happy. I went back home. 3 days after, I had that encounter again. I didn't go to the hospital. I called the family doctor. He just told me to rest, that if I visit the hospital, they might put me on bed rest, and I ate hospitals. And I was still on injections then. Well, hopefully, that passed. Yes, let me now talk about why I was in 8 months, 9 months. Those times were terrifying. Firstly, approaching my 8th month, I was having this pain, constant pain on my right leg, coming from the abdomen downwards. This pain was so severe. I can hardly move my legs. There was a time I went to the hospital. The doctor told me because the baby was resting on my leg. I did scan. The baby was not too big. At a point, I felt, I hope my leg will not go with this baby, Sha. I have never experienced this before in my life. It is how, and I see other mothers walking well. Nobody is leaping. Why am I the one leaping on my leg? I can't go out for any function. I just have to be at home. I was at home all through my pregnancy period. I couldn't walk. That phase passed. Coming to the 9th month, I was using 2 hospitals. The first one, I was told to go and check my pelvic. I was like, do they mean I will be doing CS? There's no big deal about it, but they scared me, so I didn't bother doing that. I did the other scan test to check how big your baby is. When I got there, my baby was 4.3 kg. God, for a first child, I started crying, and the guy I met there, let me just say he's heartless, because you are seeing me so heavy like that. He just dropped it like, madam, your baby is very big, oh. Very big. This is not me. I was conscious of what I was eating. I was taking no sugar. I was eating well. Before I left that place, I called everybody. I called my mom. I called my hubby. I called my grandmas. I called my pastors to just put your mind down. Because I noticed something. I'm not a doctor, but I noticed my BP was high. I had this fear. I really can't explain that emotion at that particular time. And funny enough, I was already going to the market to get myself a good food, to make something nice for the family. Then I branched to the scan center. Although I got everything I wanted to get, then I came back home. I was crying all through. So that was when I now started checking this myth of using lip tea. and hot water. I started taking those things. Immediately I go home, I have one Lipton in my drawer. I brought it out. I took Lipton. Hey, this baby, you must calm down. First child, 4.3, Nibo. Hey, God forbid. My hubby came back from work. I was cooking. Immediately came back. I was crying because I could not even face him. I was like, 4.3 as a first timer. And I've been told, your baby must not pass 2.8 kg. The baby is not even 3 points. And the last scan I did, my baby was 2.7. So I wasn't thinking, even if this scan was not going to give me 2.7, it might give me 3.2 or 2.9. And I got there, 4.3. Hey! And they've instilled so many fears in us. The midwives, like, hey, if your baby is too big, we won't allow you to deliver it vaginally. You have to go through CS. I mean, I don't want CS. I want to deliver it vaginally because I don't want the thing that after giving birth, I'll now start nursing pain. I didn't want any of such. I remembered going to the hospital a week before I gave birth. This doctor told me that if I wasn't going to give birth the next appointment date, I was going to be induced. I told him, I won't be induced. I will come to this hospital and give birth without you inducing me. So I went for the scan on a Tuesday, on a Monday. Then I fell into labor on a Tuesday. Now, this labor story. On that Tuesday morning, Tobi was around. He said he doesn't even feel like going to work. I said, why? Go to work now, I'll be okay. He left around 10. Then I stood up from bed around 12 because I was very hungry. I needed to eat, but I was having that same pain on my leg. That pain didn't go. So immediately I stood up. The first thing I went to take was my Lipton, my hot Lipton tea. Because that was my only hope. That was the only hope I had, that maybe the baby could calm down. Immediately I took the Lipton tea. I sat down. Wanted to make myself rice, then warm the old soup. Then I just noticed blood. The first I said, Jesus, what's this? Because I had a flashback of the problem I encountered during my first trimester. So I felt it was the same thing. Then later, I felt no. This was part of the teaching they gave to us, that you might see it in form of a blood, or you might see it in form of a water. I said, okay, let me cool down. But during that phase, hey, it's just like my heart's going out of my mind. I said, God, so is it that I'm going to have this child? How does this baby come out? Is it through this small bum? I was like, hey, I had to dip my hand into my bum. I was like, oh, this thing is small, it's tiny, how do I know? So I called like 2 people. I called my hubby, then I called the nurse. So the nurse came in, she was worrying me. Oh yeah, we have to start going to the hospital. I said, but please, just let us hold on now. She said, when she checked me, she's like, yeah, just 2 centimeters. I said, 2 centimeters? The doctor said until 10 centimeters, and I'm still 2 centimeters in my house. We left for the hospital. When we got to the hospital, another story. When I was at home, the nurse that checked me, she checked me gently. When I got to the hospital, the nurse just said, oh yeah, lay down. Where's your this and that? Okay, I said, this is it. Okay, go into the delivery room. She just dipped at once. I was like, madam. She said, madam, I think you are not ready to have this child though. What's wrong with you? Open your bum. I was like, hey, God, what kind of people are these? Immediately I started crying. She told me to stand up. I'm still 2 centimeters. I should be walking up and down. I had my mommy come to the hospital. So I went to sit down with her. I was afraid. I was already sweating. These goosebumps coming out of my body. I could not even understand what was going on. At a point, My mom calmed me down that just don't worry. Just give yourself rest. I went back into the delivery room. That same thing too was done. But my fear was, by evening, I was just still like 3 centimeters away. The labor was coming, it was going. Till the next morning, the pain was intense. I could not sleep. I didn't even know how I was feeling. I think my prayer was answered. I never knew the doctor that has been attending to me as being my uncle. I always see him being called Dr. Cole, Dr. Cole. I felt everybody is Cole. We have a lot of Cole. So I didn't bother to ask him that, which Cole are you? Not knowing he's even my own paternal uncle. So he saw my mom. Mummy, what are you doing here? The daughter is here now. Which of my daughter? My own daughter. Are you serious? So he came into the ward. Madam, so you've been seeing me here all this while. You didn't even ask of me. Didn't you see Cole? Can't you ask me that? Which Cole am I? I think that doctor was an angel. When he came in, he told me to enter the delivery room and checked me. Tobi, you are still 4 centimeters. I was like, what would I do? I've been here since 2 p.m. Yesterday, 2 p.m. I was like, just keep calm. Don't worry. I'll get it sorted out. Then, we had some nurses there. So I think he went ahead to bring me a very good nurse. I would say this nurse, I've never seen a perfect nurse in my life. I've been hearing different stories about nurse being naughty, being this and that. But this nurse took her time. It's just like when you are trying to tell a baby, this is how you walk, this is where you go to. I entered into the labor room around 12:30 p.m. I was induced later because it was taking time. I was really in pains. The pains are not stopping. I was having a problem with my leg. I could not move the leg again. At the point, the nurse was like, your baby is big. Your baby is big. I was like, my baby is big. What do you want me to do? As a first-time mom, at a point, she rested her back on the wall. And she said, you know what? I will help you. So immediately she called my hubby into the room. Wrote some things out for him to go and buy. Some drips and injections. So he got them all. I was on drip for about an hour. While I was on the drip, there was intense, will I call it? I don't even know what to call it. The pain was intense. Then, I remembered when I got to the hospital, I did one funny thing. I was supposed to bring my scan result along with me because I was given an instruction to do that. But since I saw the scan result, 4 points, I won't tender this result though, because immediately I tendered that kind of result, they won't even want me to go through that process of giving birth vaginally as a first-time mom. So the nurse asked me, when last did you do scan? I said, I did it 3 weeks ago. What was your baby's weight? I said my baby's weight was 2.8. I was lying. But I had to lie because I didn't want to tell her that 4.3. No. She said, okay, but this baby I'm seeing, this your tummy is big. Oh. I said, my tummy, that's how my tummy is. Oh. Right from time, I had a big tummy. She was like, She was like, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. Do you have the scan result? I said, I forgot it at home. Is your baby at home? No, it's already here. She was like, but this baby is big. Oh. I said, it's normal now. Me too, I am big, so my baby has to be big. She said, okay. So, while the woman was attending to me, she was a very good person. She was a Muslim. At the point, I started reciting, I don't know if it's their Quran or their prayer. She was like, are you a Muslim? I said, no. I just have to recite everything you are reciting with you. They told my hubby to come in and see me, and maybe you should pray for me or whatsoever. So he came in. I was even thinking my husband was strong. I never knew I was even stronger than him. He could not even say anything. He was already crying. Lo baton. They told you to come and pray for me. You're already crying. I had to hold him. Even his shirt itself. I didn't even know what I wanted to do with that shirt. It was like, people, you need to come out. The Lord will be with you. This process I went through, I felt I took a very dangerous decision. But a dangerous decision that I had this strong faith that God, this is what I want. This is the step I want to take. I don't want to go under the knife. Going under the knife is not a big deal, I know. But everybody with their own belief. So through the process, the baby was already out. The baby's head was already out. I was told to try. I really do not want to. At that point, I was already tired. I could not even do anything again. I was only breathing. They're telling me to push, but I was pushing inside. I was not pushing outside. I decided it was even bad for me to push inside. That I should scream. I couldn't scream. The baby's head was already out. Just at the center. Just a little push would bring out the baby. I couldn't do anything. I was just looking at the nurse. At a point, she's like, "Are you okay? Can you see me?" I said, "Yes, I can see you, but I'm tired." She said, "Okay." Immediately, she just cut me. Pam! I just felt a small pain, a light, sharp pain. Then the baby came out. Wow. Another story. We're waiting for the placenta to also follow. So while the baby was out, she was like, "Wait, don't tell anybody the baby's out here too. Let the placenta come out too." So, and that time, I wanted to push. I was like, "No, you don't push. Just hold on." So she tried her possible best. She had to put her hand inside of me to bring it all out. But at that time, I was relieved. But there was this connection I never had with my baby when she came out. I was just looking at the child like, "Are you sure? Like, did I have this child myself? Like, is this my baby?" I don't know, maybe other mothers, when you see your baby, you start having this emotional feeling, you start crying. I really didn't. I didn't have that connection with her. Maybe because of the pain I had gone through or whatsoever. But I was just looking at the child like, so this is my baby? Really? Yo. Then, after cleaning her up, they brought her to my chest. While she was on my chest, I still didn't have that connection. I don't know, like what I see in movies, when you see your baby, like, they start crying, they start having this emotional moment. I didn't have that emotional moment in about 3 hours. After I left the delivery room, I was stitched. Then I left. Everyone congratulated me. Then I came down from the bed. When I went back into the ward, I was just looking at the baby. So later, I don't know, maybe about an hour's time, I just have this connection just came in, like this sharp connection. I started having, there's this feeling, I don't know, when you lose someone and immediately you remember them, this emotional feeling you have for them, That's kind of feeling I had for the baby. Immediately that sharp pain came in again. Then I started carrying the baby. I didn't want to drop her down. She was everything to me. While we were at home, I remember, I think that was about 2 weeks after we got home, after the naming, she fell from my chest. My mom-in-law was around, my granny was around. While she fell, at that point she didn't cry. It was when I woke up and shouted, then she cried. Everybody came into the room. My baby was not in the room, was at the sitting room. That what happened? I said nothing happened. That she was just crying. She said, I said yes. That she was just crying, that she wanted to eat. So they went back into their room. So I had to go and meet my hubby that this was what happened though. She was sleeping on my chest though, and she fell down. That hope my baby will not die. Hope nothing will happen. Immediately, my hubby now came in. I said, how did you do it? What happened? Why would you put the baby on your chest and sleep off? I said I didn't know that she was crying, so I was trying to pet her. So he went to tell his mom. They came back inside. Why was I lying to them? I said I was scared. I was not lying. I was just scared because I don't know, maybe you guys will shout at me, but I was not being careless. I was just trying to pet her to sleep, and I didn't know I was going to sleep off. They massaged her, did everything. My hubby was awake till morning, checking her head, checking her nose. We were Googling. Then my smartphone was now my best friend at that point. We were checking everything, like if a baby falls down, what would you do? And you know Google at times, it gives you the widest answer. But we thank God nothing happened. We never took her to the hospital, aside from giving her normal routine drugs. That's my birth experience.